Can you hear the oven tick-tocking in the background? So my name is Jill, and welcome to Road Culture for Life. And what I wanted to do today was, it's been 7 winters now that I have endured and existed within this little tiny, it's an 18-foot trailer, but honest to God, there's like maybe 13 feet of living space. And it's an old trailer. And so there have been a tremendous amount of challenges in dealing with winter time. And so what I wanted to do is, I just wanted to give some, if this is your first time or you're still new at this, winter tips or things that I've learned along the way. Mostly what doesn't work, because it's just one of those things that every winter you go through a whole preparation process. And for anybody who's done this more than once, you know that there's specific things, like I tape down the windows to keep the air from coming out. I put in, the silver stuff to help insulate. I put blankets in all the corners. I put last year I tried cardboard. That worked pretty well. I try to put some kind of insulating surface because I have pergo on the floor. It's really cold, a lot of air comes up, so I put cardboard all over the ground and put the carpets and rugs on top of that. That actually worked really well. In fact, it worked so well, I've kind of adopted the 1940 Dust Bowl look of having cardboard everywhere on the ground, because you can just throw it out. There's a lot to be said for just picking things up and throwing it out when they get dirty. So those are some of the little things, that I've done. But what I really wanted to sort of touch base on was, if you are in an old trailer, there's just certain things which that it doesn't matter how many times you fix them, they don't stay fixed. Every year I caulk and paint as needed around any kind of opening. So this year I did it again. Last year I full painted the entire trailer. This year I just did, the caulking and sealing with the paint, where it was leaking from summertime. And we just had a humongous rain not too long ago. And it's amazing how everything is still leaking. And so as we're moving into winter time here, in terms of the preparations, one of the biggest things I've learned from the last 7 years is that there's almost nothing you can do to actually be warm. And that's one of those things that I don't think people understand. And they say, oh, I could run, 5,000 or 6,000 watts of electricity and be fairly warm. But electricity is expensive, and a lot of people heat with propane, and propane is expensive. And what's fascinating to me about the home community is that I've noticed this trend where people just turn up the temperature to be warm. They don't put on more clothes. And in the olden days, you just kept putting on more clothes and moving your body closer to the heat source. My heat source. Although he doesn't like to cuddle up next to me, so it doesn't really work much for keeping us warm in the winter time in the trailer. But it's just I think the most important thing I've learned, and I haven't really seen talk about very much in other videos because there are tons of winter videos, is it's a mindset. It is a mindset that you are just going to be cold and it's going to be uncomfortable and you just have to suck it up. And I still have visions and fantasies of actually being able to run a wood stove at someday if I ever get that horse trailer done. Fingers crossed. One of the little tricks that I like to do is to run the oven as a way to at least make things smell good and warm it up a little bit. But it's a whole lifestyle. I mean, it's much more difficult in terms of getting, your hair, like for me, because my hair takes a long time to dry, getting clean, getting washed. Winter time is a mindset, and I think that's what I will say this year in my 7-year prep for winter as we move into it yet again. And it's interesting, this last year I got rid of a lot of stuff clothes-wise because I'm trying to, minimize my stuff. And even now, as it's colder this morning and I went to go get more clothes, I realize I've given away quite a bit that I wish I still had. But what I've really found that works the best is I get a layering system, and then instead of having more clothes of the same type of thing, I tend to have, like I have one or two heavy-duty wool sweaters. Now I have one overall coat that covers everything, which is that long oil duster, because that is waterproof, windproof, snowproof, but it's light enough so I can wear it, 3 seasons. So it's a mindset. It's a mindset about constantly reevaluating your stuff, your situation, your living circumstances, about how can you keep peeling back, peeling away what's unnecessary, holding on to what is necessary, doing the best you can with the sealing and the insulating and things like that. And then just shifting into, there's just certain things you have to do. You have to move more. You have to put on more clothes. You have to deal with mud. You have to deal with, wet stuff on the inside. The leaking, you have to deal with if you've got wood frame that might smell a little bit. Every year I'm like, what is that? Another thing, I've had in the past where my propane is leaked, which I've gotten sick from the propane because you don't get the ventilation. Winter is a mindset that you have to gear up for if you don't have the luxury for traveling to lower elevations or to nice summer warm winter places, which there's actually quite a bit of free camping if you want to do that boondocking, which I would highly recommend if you don't want to shift into the winter mindset. But for those of us who need to stay where we are through winters, I just wanted to say, in the 7 years I've been doing this, every year I gear up for this whole stretch of cold, and I know for many places this year it's going to be even colder than normal. So sorry, guys. Grand solar minimum, baby. We're having some pretty serious changes. I think in this area we're on the, hopefully will be kind of more normal than not. But it is a mindset. So if there's anything you want to take away from winter in your RV, staying warm, no matter what your circumstances are, you can be warm. Sometimes you can't be warm. Other times it's a mindset. And once you shift into that and just sort of acknowledge that this is the way it's going to be for a while, I think it makes it a lot easier when things go wrong, because they'll go wrong. There'll be days that are worse than others. There's days where the claustrophobia, I know, really gets to me because the windows are all sealed up. And I think I just made a video not too long ago about what I would call my nuclear winter experience, where it stayed heavy, overcast, drizzly, cold, gray, miserable, sensory deprivation. I can only live this way because I can go outside a lot. When you can't go outside, tiny living is extremely challenging. So that's my number one thing I've learned from 7 years, drum roll, I can't believe I'm still doing this, but 7 years of prepping for winter. Every year it's a mindset. So if you only take one thing, I think I've said that multiple times now, hopefully you'll take that. It's a choice, it's a decision, it's just an acceptance. This is the way it is. It's going to be cold for a while. So with that, we're just going to take a deep breath, and we'll see you next time.